A recent jobs report showed slightly slower growth than projected, but an outlook that is still worth celebrating. However, for those being laid off, like the 7,000 Disney employees and others across the country who are losing their jobs, it's a different story. Well, joining us to talk about alternatives to layoffs is Sneha Mandala, speaker and consultant for work culture. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So tell us, layoffs, it's such a hard time for people, for families to be going along, doing their work, and then to be given that pink slip. What can employers do to ensure that they're making their workplace a more dynamic place without having to lose employees?
Absolutely, because employers might think that, oh, it's layoff, I cannot help it, but you have to think that if you're taking away a job from an employee, you're not just doing that, you're taking away a source of one, or at least the only source of livelihood from a whole family. So employers are responsible to make sure of exhausting all creative options before they start terminating or laying off employees. A few ways to do that is, one, can you think of reducing costs by moving all employees to a virtual office? How about cross-training employees that are working on outdated projects and get them to start working on more relevant, in-demand, and still important projects? Or how about getting all of your employees into a brainstorming session and say, hey, this is what's happening. We are not seeing the year-over-year increase that we are expecting. Can we come up with more creative ways? The monkey is not just on your back. Get your people involved. There's another way to do that, and a few companies have already done it. How about you review the bloated salary structures that exist within your company and have a few people take a little bit of a salary cut so that employees are holding on to their jobs just a little bit longer?
You raise such a good point, because that's exactly what I was thinking. And I have heard of instances where salaries will be slightly cut back. And sometimes this happens year over year as well. Now, in a time where we've got inflation, higher gas prices, interest rates that are going up, how do we maintain, though, a salary that, though you're taking a little bit of a cut but getting to keep your job, that you can make up for that loss?
So there are a few ways that you can do it. You can start looking for opportunities outside of your job too. Especially if you are a citizen in this country, there are so many opportunities. America is called the land of opportunities. So look for opportunities that you can work on outside of your job. But before you even do that, how do you protect yourself from future layoffs?
Yes.
And there are a few ways to do that too. So decision making for layoffs happens because of one of two factors. Either it is performance or relevance. So employees that are underperforming might be let go, or employees that are working on outdated projects that are no longer serving the business, they could be let go. So what employees can do is keep constantly upskilling themselves, stay cognizant of the market trends, and be proactive, take that initiative. And I cannot stress on this enough, build strong relationships, create that network within not just your department, but within your organization. So if you're not needed on a particular team, maybe that mentor or that sponsor within your network is willing to absorb you into their team.
Now, I also have to mention, when you talk about kind of upselling yourself later down the road because of new skills that you've picked up and that you've taken the time to learn, to make yourself just even more valuable to a potential employer, to your current employer. We call them side hustles as well, to pull in a few extra dollars, but it's also incumbent upon the employer to allow, to maybe give a little extra time to those employees in order to do that. So is it fair to say that you could walk into your boss's office and say, hey, I'm willing to take this pay cut, but I require A, B, C, and D, whether that's an hour less of work a week or whatever the case may be, in order to make those ends meet?
So if employees can start to be more productive at work, and there are a few ways to do that, if they're working on tasks that are extremely engaging for them, productivity automatically goes up. So now employees start to spend lesser time automatically to get the same output, to get the same results. So now you're in a position of a little bit of power to have that negotiation with your boss, saying that, hey, you know what, I'm getting paid for a full-time job. I don't want to be putting in more than 40 hours of work each week. I want to go back home, spend a little bit time on myself, spend a little bit time on my family. And if there is time left, I would love to make up for this cut of my pay by working on other opportunities. And there can't be any manager who's going to say, yes, you got your job done, but please stay and work a little bit more.
That's true. We are dealing with reasonable people every now and again, aren't we? Okay, perfect. Well, for people who want more information on what you do, how do they find you?
Absolutely. So I'm always sharing videos with tips like these on work trends on LinkedIn. So find me on LinkedIn with my name, Sneha Mandala.
Perfect. Sneha, thank you so much. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
We're back after this.